Yes.
Hi, Gwen. I have just Sparty here to see you.
Oh, yes, please, let him come in.
No problem. I'll send him right in.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi,
How
Jeff.
are you? Good to see you. How you
again.
been?
Very good, very good.
Good.
Everything good?
All's well. All's well.
I was very happy to see you last time. We've been busy
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
good to see you too, yeah. Yeah, keep busy staying out of trouble.
Yeah, it's been a long day. So how's everything, Jeff? What do you have for me
Pretty
today?
good. Well, we talked last time about the different kind of
Yes.
maps, okay? And what I wanted to do today is give you a little more detail of what implementation would look like.
Mhm.
We know, we talked that, the maps that you're using now look like this.
Right.
And you want to get something that looks like this, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right,
Which
and-
last time you showed me the difference, which was terrible. And I remember it was like, wow, I can't believe that's exactly what ours looks like now.
And that's what the families are looking at, and they're thinking to themselves,
Pretty terrifying.
yeah, mistakes can happen, so, the last time we just kind of touched on it, you want to get from here to there, and run a report from the system you have now,
Right.
and magic happens, and then you have that. I want to go into some of the more detail of what that magic is, give you some insight of what the system actually look like for you, if you're going to implement it.
Right. I mean, Jeff, one of the things that I was, when I was speaking to my people and when I met with them was, I was wondering how long would it take?
Well, that's a
The
good question.
implementation.
The implementation, that's a good question, because a lot of these systems take a year or more, right? What we can implement here, and I'll show you how it works, and then we'll get some more detail on that question, but it generally takes about 6 to 8 weeks,
6 to 8 weeks to implement all of the.
all of it.
Okay.
From the time that we start with the inventory file,
Mhm.
and to the time that we actually have it installed.
Because we were looking at is we found that most of these installations take up to 2 years in the past from what you guys have done. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Well, I did complete one for the Catholic cemeteries in Miami, and we worked on it for about 2 years, but we did a lot of other things while we were working on it. It was actually more of a consulting engagement that went on with a number of other projects. Let me show you, because that fits right, that question fits right into
Okay.
to how the implementation looks.
Because that's a big concern that we have, and we definitely we don't have that kind of time to wait 2 years for an
That's a long
implementation.
time, right? I understand, yeah, like I said, we did a lot of other projects while we were doing that. The initial implementation was actually up in about 2 months, but we just waited, it carried on over and over. And I'll show you how that works, as I'm explaining the system itself for you.
Okay, and then after that, we'll discuss price.
After that, we'll
All right.
discuss price. Okay? All right. What the system does, when you run a report, it's standard inventory report from the system you have. This is your inventory report. And I'll try to write here on the rest of this for you. Okay, you run a standard report and you save it into a preset folder that we set up.
Okay.
All right? Once you do that, the system has a converter that will take this file, do its magic, okay?
I will take this and do this magic.
It will actually take some data from your system, it does its magic, and over here you have your maps.
So what you're saying is, alone, on its own, it will take the data and it will make the map on its own.
It will make the map on its
So
own.
we no longer have to sit there and figure it and spread
You
it
don't
out.
have to touch, this will be an antique that you can look at and say, remember what? The sales counselors in Miami don't even remember trying to work with that kind of thing. You said you have about 18 sales counselors,
Yes.
right? And about how much time do each of them spend each week covering in those locations?
Countless.
Countless? Fair to say maybe
Maybe,
an hour each a week?
maybe 1 or 2 hours.
1 or 2 hours times 18 counselors? So you have 36 hours a week going into covering squares, well, so let's
Yeah.
not.
No, it's definitely a problem.
All right, okay. With this, what you do is run the report, you save it. When you open a converter, there's literally 3 clicks, and it does all this work for you. Okay. What it's also doing in here is just comparing all the data that you have to your actual inventory. Because here's what can happen, which is what we've learned in Miami, and it happens everywhere, I know it does. If someone deletes a record of a location by accident, while they're processing a cancellation of a contract or something, that location comes out of the database. It's no longer visible for anyone to see. If they can't see it, they can't sell it.
Right.
So if they accidentally delete a record, that could be a $5,000 grave, it could be a $10,000 or $15,000 crypt, it disappears, it vanishes. That's what we call lost treasure.
Right.
But what the system will do is say, hey, when it runs this process, it has a QC, quality control, that will give you a report and say, wait a minute, someone deleted this location, it's not there anymore. You can go back, put it back in your system, and recover all your lost treasures.
Is there a lot of room for error in these type of things? Because one of the things we do notice is, exactly what you said. So we're kind of tense to have the system do it on its own and then make mistakes.
Actually, what happens is this system, there is no way for anybody to add or remove a record from this system. Once we confirm that it matches your inventory, the records cannot be. The quality control system locks in on the certified inventory, and that the user couldn't change if they wanted to.
Okay.
What they can change and what they do change accidentally is records in here.
Right.
So we catch that for you.
Okay.
Okay? We catch any locations that are accidentally deleted, which is lost treasure, and it puts a lot of valuable inventory back into your system. We also catch locations that were entered twice,
Right.
because sometimes locations are fat fingered and put entered twice, and if a location is sold twice, this
Lost
is,
it.
you get the call from the groundskeeper on the day of service, we're out here digging the hole, someone's already there, you know how much that costs.
Definitely.
That's a huge concern right there. So we pick up the lost treasures, and we pick up the time bombs. Again, you could have locations in here that are entered twice, and there's no checks and balances. This is your checks and balances to make sure that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be.
Okay.
All right? Resolving the time bombs and resolving the lost treasures in Miami paid for the system 100 times over.
Okay.
Okay? Then, once it goes over to here, it's literally point and click. The counselor says, I want a mausoleum, I want this building, and out comes the match.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Well, now that I understand, now I have more of a clear vision of what it is. Now let's discuss pricing.
Okay. The proposal that I put together based on the only inventory that you had mentioned was $5,900, which covers all 27,000 locations that are in your lakeside and in your waterfront properties. Okay, so 27,000 locations at $5,900 comes out to less than 22 cents each, and you have all the assurance, all your attention of whether something's entered twice or not entered is gone, and you have these maps that are literally a point and click away.
One of the things that I'm very concerned about, and though it's very great and it works for us, and it would definitely be a big help. We're at an expense freeze right now. The company has taken a hit, and we are trying to cut back, and we're literally stopping on costs right now.
Okay, I understand.
So what can we do in a sense, Because as of right now, it does not fit in our budget at all.
Okay. It's hard times everywhere. We all need to watch where we're spending money, make sure every dollar counts.
We've had a lot of expenses, a lot of things that are going on.
Right.
And as far as that's concerned, I don't know how we can do it.
Well, one of the things we want to do on budgets for tight is we want to make sure the sales is productive as possible, right? They're either with their family or doing something that gets more in front of a family. And if they're spending 36 hours a week building maps, that's probably an area where productivity might be an exception where you could make some investment to move the sales force forward. If that's not something that's in the works that can be done, what we could do is we could phase this. We could start with the buildings that you're selling most actively now. Scale back the scope, sell and build maps for what you're doing most actively now. Start with that. See how the councils, like I said, that works for you, and over time we can phase in the rest of the inventory, bring it up to where we can ready to invest in the inventory later. That way you have a system, you have something there to show the councils for your lakeside museum, which is beautiful. You have this for what you're selling the most of.
Right.
And then we phase in the rest of the inventory later.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So let's go ahead and.
What I'll do is I'll get the initial inventory report from the staff, and we'll start the process of mapping it to the converter.
Okay, as long as you guarantee me that we can save that and we can do it money-wise, as you say, then.
Yes. Well, we can cut the price of time to about a third, just do the first 10,000 spaces in your main building
Okay.
and work out from there. And the one caveat on the timeline is that if I do find discrepancies where locations are in it twice or locations are in it at all, I'm dependent on turnaround from your staff to get all that reconciled so we can move forward and finish the system.
Okay.
If that all comes together as we like to think it will, you can be up and running in about 6 weeks.
All right, well, that makes me feel better.
Okay, all
All
right.
right, Jeffy.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming.
Pleasure. And
I
who's
hope
I
to see-
contact for the?
Well, I'll get you in contact with Mr. Alvarez, and then we'll get together
Okay.
and we'll sign the paperwork and everything that we have so we can start as soon as possible. Like I said, one of the things is time. We want
Yeah,
it to start
I
as soon as
understand.
possible.
I'll work with him and you, and if we get the file turned around quickly, we might have some lost treasures and time bombs discovered right up front for you, and as long as we get the turnaround, we'll get it running another thing.
All right, perfect.
Okay,
All right,
thank
have a
you.
good day.
Okay, bye-bye.